Today, we have three amazing experts with us to talk about some of the things you can start doing right now to get ready for that vulnerable postpartum period. Welcome, Dr. Sasha Hakman, Tatiana, and Alex. As a mom myself, I have been there and I'm looking forward to this conversation. Tatiana and Alex are both lactation consultants and teach live online pregnancy and breastfeeding classes and offer virtual one-on-one lactation appointments from Aeroflow Breastpumps. And Dr. Hakman is a fertility specialist, OBGYN, and member of the BabyCenter Medical Advisory Board, whom I've had the pleasure of meeting in person myself too. Ladies, could you tell me a little bit more about yourselves? Dr. Hakman, want to start?
Yeah, sure, of course. So as you had previously mentioned, so I'm a double board certified OBGYN and reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialist. So in other words, my primary niche is focusing on infertility. However, I have a history of having delivered thousands of babies, both vaginally or C-section, and also taking care of women postpartum. And I went through the infertility journey myself, and I have two beautiful boys. My first one was through IVF. So the second one conceived naturally. I had one C-section. I had one vaginal delivery after cesarean, known as a VBAC, breastfed, pumped, did all the things. So I have firsthand experience, in every sort of aspect of going through pregnancy and postpartum.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. I'm very excited to see you again. It's been a while since.
Likewise.
Tatiana, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you. So I'm a wife and a mom of two toddlers, so I'm running on coffee these days. But on a serious note, I also have a background in nutrition and a master's in public health. So I'm very familiar with the importance of community support and how it can make all the difference in maternal and child well-being. So I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And Alex?
Hey guys, so I am a registered nurse and a lactation consultant. I actually used to be a special education teacher and then changed careers because I had a little bit of a bumpy road on my delivery and postpartum breastfeeding journey. So I'm a mom of three and very passionate about what I do. My background is mainly in NICU, but I'm very excited to be here with y'all today.
Awesome. Thank you three so much. We have lots to dive into, so I'm going to get started. I just want to say that I definitely don't think I'm the only mom who was very surprised by postpartum recovery. Just hearing all three of our stories brings that up again. I had an emergency C-section and I just wasn't all that prepared. I wasn't prepared to have a C-section, and then I definitely wasn't prepared for the immediate postpartum recovery period. So a lot of women are not prepared for things like wearing diapers, hemorrhoids, those unexpected C-sections, and so much more. We actually found in our own BabyCenter postpartum support study, 65% of women feel totally prepared to take care of their newborns, but only 47% of moms feel prepared to take care of themselves during that postpartum recovery period. Dr. Hakman, what do you find new moms are often surprised by during recovery, and what are some things they can start to do now to prepare?
So I find that there are a lot of things that new moms tend to be surprised by. The most common thing is the length of time for recovery and the multiple aspects of recovery. And part of that even includes incorporation of breastfeeding while you're recovering. So like you previously mentioned, hemorrhoids are a really big one. They could be incredibly painful, make recovery more difficult, particularly if you've had a vaginal delivery. Of course, if you have an unexpected C-section, the recovery from major abdominal surgery while having to get out of bed in the middle of the night to constantly feed, so that getting up motion while you have this incision that's trying to heal can be a lot, and not sort of integrating the necessary support to help accelerate that recovery. So I often tell women that this is the time where in pregnancy, you want to learn as much about the recovery process outside of just learning about baby. You want to learn more about breastfeeding or breast pumping, whatever you prefer and choose to do. And then trying to really set up your support system in advance so that when you are struggling, you are able to call these people to help facilitate the recovery process and make it a little more enjoyable as you're trying to bond with your newborn baby and figure out breastfeeding or pumping. So personally, when I was preparing to have my first child, I accessed Aeroflow's resources, which I found really helpful. I was able to order my breast pump in advance. I took it out of the box. I played around with it, tried to figure out how to measure my flange size. So knowing all of this in advance made the transition to pumping when I needed to much easier. I personally breastfed in the beginning, but I did incorporate some pumping knowing that I'd go back to work fairly soon after delivery. So using Aeroflow Aeroflow Breastpumps made it so much easier because all I had to do was input my insurance information. I got to look through a catalog of different breast pumps, try to figure out which one worked for me and my lifestyle and my work schedule. And so I was able to order it through them and get that delivery. But in addition to that, able to access some courses that were covered through my insurance. And even as an OBGYN who knows a lot, I just found it really, really helpful to tap into the knowledge and resource that lactation consultants can offer you.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think many moms, we look forward to hopefully being able to breastfeed. But, there's a lot of unforeseen challenges, like I mentioned before, like NICU stays, latching problems, supply issues, and more when it comes to actually being able to breastfeed. We actually found in our BabyCenter breastfeeding and formula study that 62% of moms were unprepared to have these types of challenges when it comes to breastfeeding. Alex, what are some things expecting moms can keep in mind and prepare for when it comes to breastfeeding and pumping?
Yeah, no, it's such important to remember that those first few weeks after birth are a really important time to just really focus on establishing breastfeeding and getting things off to a great start. Remember to give yourself and your baby, though, plenty of grace and patience because you're both learning a new skill. And even if this is second baby for you, it's still been a while since you've done it previously. The biggest thing to keep in mind is that breastfeeding should not be painful. There might be a little initial tenderness, but ongoing pain or discomfort is a clear sign that something needs to be adjusted. So please don't hesitate to reach out for help. That is what our job is. Lactation consultants are here to support you. So whether you need that reassurance that things are going well, or maybe you need a little help with positioning and latch. If latching is going smoothly, then it's usually best to just let your baby be the one to regulate your milk supply during those first 4 to 6 weeks. That helps your body learn exactly how much milk your baby needs. And then after that point, then you can start introducing pumping, whether it's to build a small freezer stash, maybe you are preparing to go back to work, or just having some milk on hand for when you're away from baby. We get a lot of questions about which breast pump is the best breast pump, but the truth is it really depends on your needs and how often you'll be pumping, what features of the pump that matter most to you. But the key thing to remember about pumping is that it also should not be uncomfortable. If you are feeling pain or if you're having issues responding to the pump or issues with your milk supply, that's another key time to reach out for support. At Aeroflow Breastpumps, we offer quality breast pumps from the top brands, and we even have something called the Mother Pumper Program. And this gives you convenient monthly deliveries of those milk storage bags and pump replacement parts, all free through your insurance. Just a little piece to make your pumping life a little bit easier.
I absolutely love that name. So awesome. Thank you. Calorie and nutritional needs. Dr. Hakman touched on this a little bit. Change by trimester and then again during postpartum. I know I try to be as healthy as I can, but was always worried about what to eat, how much to eat during pregnancy and postpartum myself. And I think most moms want to be, making sure they are nourishing their baby and themselves in the right way. Tatiana, as both a lactation consultant and a registered dietitian, what are some ways moms can adjust to these changes in the 4th trimester and best prepare for nutrition that supports both their recovery and breastfeeding?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we're breastfeeding, we're looking at an additional 300 to 500 calories per day to support our milk production. And we want to focus on key nutrients like protein for healing, of course, iron-rich foods, and healthy fats, just to name a few. And the goal is to prioritize nutrient-dense foods that provide us with as many vitamins and minerals as possible. So things like whole grains, leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts and seeds, and beans and legumes. And personally, I think the best time to prepare for postpartum is during pregnancy. So you can think about what you'll need and then lean into your support system. Instead of having them buy baby clothes or toys for the baby shower, consider asking them for things like meal delivery gift cards or to just bring meals that you can put in your freezer. And then also anything that you're cooking towards the end of pregnancy, go ahead and double the recipe and freeze half for that postpartum period, especially things like soups, stews, and casseroles. And if your baby is already here, then you can still lean into your support system by asking them to bring over meals when they visit you. And then if that support isn't available, then lean into convenience. So salad kits, rotisserie chickens, those steamed bag veggies, pre-chopped veggies, and canned beans all cut down on the time and effort that it takes to make a meal without sacrificing nutrients. And at Aeroflow Breastpumps, we do have live pregnancy and breastfeeding classes, and that includes options both for pregnancy and postpartum nutrition, all covered through your insurance.
Wonderful. I love that idea of asking mom, like instead of clothes that we all, especially if you're on your 2nd or 3rd baby, asking for food and like subscriptions so that you can make healthy meals. I love that idea. Okay, this is my favorite part because I would love to ask you three one rapid fire question each. And up first, I have one for Alex. I was an exclusive pumper because I had a NICU baby myself. She was in the NICU for 2 weeks. What's one piece of wisdom you would share with other NICU moms who might be in the thick of that exclusive pumping life, bringing it to the NICU and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I was actually a NICU mom myself, which was a large part of why I changed careers. But if I could tell a NICU mom one thing, it would be that every drop of breast milk is an amazing gift to your baby. You are enough, no matter what your supply looks like. And your mental health is equally important. And that goes for all moms, NICU or not, just on this postpartum journey. It's such an important step to set yourself up for success by continuing to reach out to get that support that you need, whether it's a lactation consultant to help you create a pumping schedule, or a family member or a friend to wash those pump parts for you, having extra sets of parts so that you always have a backup, or maybe it's a support group so that you can be around others who understand what you're going through and they're in the thick of it with you. I'll never forget, I had a mom I was helping in the NICU who had different family members with a set schedule to wake her up and call her every night at 2 a.m. because she was sleeping through her pump alarms, but she would wake up for that phone call. And it was such a sweet and creative way to have those around you help support you in your goal. You might be the only one that can pump or breastfeed, but those small acts of support can go such a long way.
That's for sure. I know I found it super helpful to talk to other NICU moms when I was going through it because we were all bringing our little bottles and putting them in the fridge right next to each other. So I love that support tip. Okay, and so for Tatiana, do you have a quick tip for moms who are looking to make sure they are getting enough of all those nutrients they need postpartum, especially when they're pumping? Maybe a hack of sorts to make sure they're getting in enough protein, carbs, fiber, all the good stuff, especially when things are busy and they feel like they just can't put their baby down to get themselves a snack.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to tell moms, if your baby is eating, then you need to be eating too. You know, many of us are sitting in one spot while we're pumping, so we do want to take advantage of that time. And there's many things that we can eat with just one hand. Another hack is to set up a snack basket in the places where you typically pump. So maybe by the edge of the couch or on the nightstand, and then fill them with some easy snacks like fruits, trail nuts, trail mix, mixed nuts, seeds, granola bars, even some nut butter squeeze packs to name a few. And then in the refrigerator, we can have some other one-hand snacks, so hard-boiled eggs, drinkable yogurts, veggie sticks, and string cheese. And then when you do have a few extra minutes, go ahead and prep something easy for the next day, like overnight oats, chia seed puddings, parfaits, or even a little smoothie bag. That way you can start the next day off with a nourishing meal.
Love that. I love this new trend of postpartum carts that everybody stocks with snacks and drinks and things that make it really easy for moms to make sure they're getting support too. And then Dr. Hakman, you have two beautiful boys. What's the one thing you did during one or both of your own pregnancies that made a huge difference when you were in the postpartum period?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that really helped me was to, I think people assume that as OBGYNs, we are the only people that matter in the baby and delivery stage of life. But the reality is getting in with a lactation consultant, if you're struggling nutritionally, getting in with a nutritionist or a dietitian to understand more before you deliver will make a huge impact. So for me, even as an OBGYN, understanding the medical recovery process, understanding all the little tips and tricks that patients have done or that I've recommended to patients was really helpful. But the one thing that really made a massive difference for me was to get in with a lactation consultant before I delivered. Even as an OBGYN, that is not my expertise. And I really, without it, I think I would have really, really struggled because we had to troubleshoot a lot. Breastfeeding was very painful. I ended up with mastitis, things that the lactation consultant helped me troubleshoot and really rapidly improve. I think if I didn't have that support set up before my baby was born, I don't know that I would have really pushed through and been able to continue. And I think that having that in place and having my contact person before I delivered is what really made a huge difference in my success.
I love that. I wish I would have done that. I could have used that. Thank you so much, you three. This was absolutely fabulous. And I know I learned a lot. The postpartum period is really just so vulnerable for all women. And this was such a wonderful conversation. Want to end by thanking Aeroflow Breast Pumps, of course. Aeroflow Breast Pumps has so many great products and resources available to you during this precious time, all covered through insurance. And they make it easy for you with 3 simple steps. All you have to do to begin is just visit aeroflowbreastpumps.com to see what you qualify for. Again, thank you ladies so much for this important conversation.